Greg Fredricks has been a key supporter of Lewis and Clark athletics since he started on campus as a professor in 1985. Greg taught mathematics at Lewis and Clark for 24 years. He served as a faculty athletic representative from 1993 to 2009. During his time as FAR, he worked with Judy McMullen and Steve Wallow to spearhead the Northwest Conference's move to the NCAA Division III level. Fredricks also teamed up with Hall of Fame FAR Arlie Dotson to co-write the first draft of the conference's new constitution and bylaws. He was recognized by the department as an honorary Letterman jacket winner and by the Northwest Conference with his Distinguished Service Award in 2010. He has been described by his peers as the most dedicated FAR the department has ever worked with. Even after his retirement, Fredricks can be found cheering on the Pios at almost every home football, volleyball, and basketball game, and comes out and supports all of the department's teams.
Greg, where do we start? So I feel really lucky. Greg asked me to do this, and to introduce somebody, this is my second time in 3 years getting to introduce somebody that's given so much to not just the college, but to athletics, and specifically the student athletes. To say that those contributions are amazing would be an understatement. Greg is a stalwart for our student athletes and continues to be. He served as the FAR. He helped steer us into Division III. He took the conference into Division III. He worked with Arlie, who's also in the Hall of Fame with this same award, to write the bylaws, to make sure that our conference was set up correctly. For that, he was honored in 2010 with a Distinguished Service Award from our conference. I don't recall that's been given since that I'm aware of. On campus, Greg as the FAR was critical. That job is a liaison between the athletic department and the faculty and the students. The FAR is charged with upholding academic integrity within the athletic department and being an advocate for student athletes and their well-being. The job description, though, barely scratches the surface for what Greg's impact was on athletics. Greg was and still is the greatest supporter we have of athletics and our greatest champion. So he gave me some guidelines to give this talk. So he wanted a student perspective. So I called Hall of Famer, soccer player, Lisa Hausman-Flynn, and she gave me a few words to say since she couldn't be here. She just had a third kid a couple of days ago. So apparently can't travel from Ohio after that. So Lisa said, Greg's support never started or stopped at the edge of the track or the field. He was our champion across everything at L&C, our biggest SAC supporter, teacher liaison, and a former mentor. He joyfully lifted us up through tough losses or the incredible wins. His guidance and support is immeasurable. Greg is an inspiration to everyone in the L&C community, and he even brought us vegetables from his garden. So nowadays, Greg can be found at almost every home, I think, or maybe every home. You can pick your sport, and you'll find Greg there. And I think for those that know what I do here, I get to a lot of games, but Greg gets to more games than I do, which is pretty amazing. If you find Greg in the stands, you will always find him smiling, always cheering, and proudly, very proudly, wearing the jacket, the Letterman's jacket that he was gifted. Only a few of these have been given out by the athletics department, and Greg wears his proud. Greg is a treasure. He is absolutely our greatest supporter of our student athletes, and he is the best friend that we could have in athletics. So it's truly an honor to give Greg this award for meritorious service in the athletic department, Lewis and Clark. Greg Fredricks.
Thank each and every one of you for being here this evening to this great event. And especially I'd like to thank my family and friends at Tables 1 and Table 8. And as mentioned before, I've been around a long time. So I've been supporting Lewis and Clark student athletes for over 40 years now. I did a little calculation I figured that roughly I've been to about 1,000 events to watch sports student athletes. That includes all sports, even cross country, even golf, and even crew. And you have to leave the campus to go to those events. And so besides that, let's see, what's the next thing I want to say? So besides supporting student athletes, I've also, in that way, I figured I've also been to about 50 student athlete advisory committee meetings and about 25 Hall of Fame dinners. When I first came to occupy the FAR position in 1993, we were under the umbrella of the NAIA, and it was very different. Under their governance structures, the FARs had total control. They had all the power to do everything from eligibility to schedules to making rules. And the only power the president had was to hire or fire their FAR. And then when we came into NCAA, it was very different because under their governance, the presidents have the ultimate responsibility for all of the athletics. And at that time, we had quite a few meetings that were combined between ADs, FARs, and presidents, all in the same room. At one of the early meetings, I brought up a topic that was close to my heart. I kind of campaigned to have each college in the conference have both a male and female FAR. At that time, I think all of the conference FARs were males. And there were obviously lots of situations where it'd be nice to be able to go to someone from one gender or the other. So at that meeting, the presidents unanimously approved that proposal. And unfortunately, a couple years later, they rescinded that approval, but they promised to consider females whenever there was an opening in an FAR position. So to this day, Lewis and Clark has continued to have both male and female FARs. Willamette also oftentimes has both male and female, but the committee of FARs now is basically 50-50 between males and females. And later, shortly before I was retiring, another topic came up, and that was to address the scheduling, let's say, of men's and women's basketball. Up to that time, every of those double headers, the women had always gone first and the men had always gone second. And myself and a couple other FARs asked the ADs to come forward with a schedule that sometimes had the women's going second, just, so they could try it out. And the ADs refused to do that. They threatened to sue the FARs, and the conference president had to step in and say, no one's going to sue anyone. And we kind of think that would be a good idea to experiment some with switching the traditional order of basketball. So over the years, there were some efforts to change them around until last year. Last year, on all of those conference basketball doubleheaders, the men went first and the women went second. This year, in all the conference doubleheaders, the women are going to go first and the men are going to go second. So after 15 years, we finally have gender equity in our basketball schedule. So some of you may have heard a rumor about what happened to me last fall. I went to the opening football game with a walker because I had a broken pelvis, a broken sacrum, and 70 stitches on my face and neck. And my surgeon said, I'll fix you up. You'll almost look as good as before. And I said, well, that's a low bar. So once again, I want to thank you for this honor and say, go Pioneers. Sorry, I think I just said a bad word.